Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hawg Talk podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. We're also brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get on the action. Use promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. First off, hope everybody had a safe and 4th of July holidays. Adam, I don't know what all you did for over the holidays. You stay in, go see any fireworks or anything?
Just the annoying ones in my neighborhood. But it's one of those things that I give you a pass. Like, I don't care. I know to expect it the 4th of July. It's the days leading up and the days that follow that, okay, I can even deal with it the day after. But then we're rolling at 11:30 at night the day after, and I'm like, all right, this is too much.
And living in the country, there's no shut-off times. So living north of Mulberry, and you give country folk fireworks, they're gonna, hey, we're gonna shoot them while we got them. So we spent the 4th of July holiday. We went to Fort Walton Beach, and I would suggest anybody, if you want to go anywhere over the 4th of July, Fort Walton Beach it's right next to Destin. It's in between Destin and around Panama City, Destin, and then Fort Walton. It's not as near as crowded. We went to Okaloosa Island, and we got on the plane at XNA, landed in Fort Walton, and then we were there by the time the fireworks started. Yeah. So it's really cool getting to watch the fireworks there on the Bayside. And I know there was a lot of talk of sharks and stuff, which there was. I mean, it was crazy here, and you could see the tiger sharks swimming around probably half a mile from where you were swimming yourself. So we had a great time there. But yeah, I hope everybody had a safe 4th of July holiday. It's halfway through the summer. Our kids start back to football. We're going to be getting into that high school football pretty soon. We're going to have Thomas Thrash from Hooten's Arkansas Magazine on with us in a few weeks when the release of the magazine comes out. He's been sending us little snippets and stuff of what to expect out of the magazine, some new things, some new layouts. So really excited to see that. But when we start the show, again, I shared a tweet from Jim Harris about, his thoughts on losing the two in-state prospects, and really went in on the fans. And me, I totally disagree with it. I think you stand on the same stance as me. Got a lot of attention, and there was a lot of people that thought we were blaming the fans as well. And I was farthest from the truth. You can't blame the fans for a 4-8 season. You can't blame the fans for watching a football game with FIU and them competing with them or losing to Liberty. I don't see how you put that on the fans. But there's the people that they're not rocking with NIL. They want the people to come in from the transfer portal. They want, and again, I just thought about this. Why is it okay when it comes to what Cal's done in the NIL with Tyson? Everybody just embraced him for that. But yet you have so many people behind the curtains complaining about NIL. And we know that's what it's going to take. But to sit there and go at the fans and say the fans are causing this and that, the fans are not the ones in the living room telling these kids not to come to Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, you've got, I'm just going to throw his name out here. Who knows? But, you got the likes of, we'll just say Eli up in Missouri or Lane Kiffin or whoever it may be sitting in the, I mean, they have legitimate things they can tell players when it could be have to do with NIL. It could have to do with 4-8 season. It could have to do with your coach being on the hot seat, may not be there next year. I mean, there's a number of things that are going against Arkansas when it comes to recruiting. And the fact of fans being to blame for it, I think we're just trying to, or some are just trying to find something else to complain about or somebody else to put the blame on, because it's easier, because they'll get a response out of fans. They're not going to get a response out of a coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I can. Here's the thing: I can see why they would think that because we know how toxic the fan base can be. But their voice, they have a right to speak their mind because they're not lying about anything. You look at what's happened, and not only the players, look at the coaches that have left. Barry Odom, he goes off to UNLV and wins in his first year. We're going to start seeing what we're seeing in baseball this year, where other teams are going to start coming up that are lower than you. And you brought up the perfect point. Look at the difference, the big difference. You go 9-4, you get 8 of the top 10 prospects. Winning all. Nobody is saying anything if they're winning. You're going to get the players to come to Arkansas if you're winning. Who's going to come to Arkansas 3-7, 4-8?
And even this, I mean, this was put out just as facts and stats. That's all this is. And we still had those, I mean, more or less complaining that we made this graphic, that we posted it. And it's kind of like, why? I mean, if you're mad at anything, be mad at the results. Don't be mad that we put it out easier, accessibly for everybody to see and read. I mean, the fact is you went 9-4, you locked down 8 of the 10 players in the state of Arkansas. And after a 4-8 season, you've currently got 4. Who knows what will happen before signing day? Things
And
could swing in the better, or we could lose.
And you beat Missouri and you beat Texas A&M. That's the thing. You beat the teams that you have struggled to beat in that same year. And that's the thing that gets everybody excited. And another thing is, we were getting a lot of, we're spreading negativity. What positive is there to talk about? What positivity, what positive thing can we wring out of opposed to a coach that was on the outs and he had Bobby Petrino come in to run the program? I mean, that would be the one big positive that you can talk about, the addition, but he don't play the game. He coaches the game. You do have Taylor Green. You do have a lot of weapons, Haas and Washington to throw to. Tesla. It's one of those things that, like you said last week, until you put together 2 winning seasons in a row, what hope is there really to see that this thing is getting turned around? And I just think sometimes the fans want to gripe, but yet when we say the out loud stuff and we talk about it and we're negative, it's like, well, y'all are only talking about negative stuff. Well, when there's positive things to talk about this football program, we will talk about those things. And I want to clear the air. Like, look, we both want the program to be very successful. We want this for the fans because we speak to the fans. We want to come on here on a Sunday or a Monday and talk about the big game and the win and this 3-game winning streak, or, hey, we're going to be bowl eligible. And we don't have to wait till November to say that. We can say that in October. Man, we're already bowl eligible. We don't have to wait till the last game of the season to be 5-7 or 5-6, hoping to beat Missouri to get bowl eligible. Give us a reason to be excited about this football team, and we'll be more positive. But right now, we would be lighting, and then we'd be getting called sunshine pumpers because we're talking about this team going 8, 9, 10 wins when they're coming off a 4-8 year.
And like the video that I've got here, of Coach Travis Williams running through the halls after Tavion Wallace committed to Arkansas. It's fantastic. It's positive. Yep. Call it like it is. It was good to see, and I would love to see more of that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Props and good luck to the kids out of Parkview that chose to go to Oklahoma and K-State. More power to you. I'm not mad at you. I understand. Do I wish you had came here? Of course I do. I would love to have the top players in the state come here, but they've moved on. They went elsewhere. But we do post these things too, and it gets overshadowed, like all news does. The good gets overshadowed by the bad, and that's what's taken over. Over the last however many months.
Yeah. I mean, we can't talk about basketball and Cal too much straight. I mean, we can't do that. But when you look at the whole year, I'm calling this year the year of redemption. Football team needs to redeem themselves and get back on the winning track. Basketball programs needs to redeem themselves because they have a Hall of Fame coach, a bunch of 4-stars and coming off a season where they didn't make the tournament. They need to redeem themselves and show that Cal can do it here at Arkansas. Baseball program, 2 years in a row, you end your season in Fayetteville. You've got to redeem yourself and show why you're one of the top programs in the SEC. You can't say you are the best team in the SEC anymore. So this is the year of redemption, all three. You look at that 9-4 year, and look what the basketball baseball team did that same year. It was, and look how crazy it was when Arkansas beat Texas and Arkansas played Texas. It took me almost an hour to drive from Razorback Road to the top of the football stadium and then back around to the soccer field. An hour.
Mm-hmm.
It would take you 5 minutes now, on a game day. So you have to win. I keep on going back to the Little Rock argument. If Arkansas was a continuous 8 to 9 win season, one, nobody'd gripe about the Arlington game because you're winning that more than you're losing it. You're winning in Little Rock, and you would have more marquee games in Little Rock. But when you're a losing program, where do you think they're going to put those games in Little Rock? They're going to put the easiest ones that you can because you're trying to have the better teams on your home field in Fayetteville. You're wanting the recruits to come to your big games in Fayetteville, and you put the lesser games in Little Rock.
Definitely. And, I'm going to play that video real quick for Travis Williams, just a little. I mean, but, whether it was, I did see some comments from folks on various ways, like, oh, it was a little stage. It was so be it. He was prepared for what they knew were coming, and it was genuine excitement. I mean, it was one of those things that they wouldn't have put it out if it was BS, in my opinion. And he was the first one to post about it. So here we go there.
Oh, we got him, Larry! We got another one! Let's go!
I mean, it's just genuine excitement. And I'd love to post more of that stuff.
But it's a 4-star. You've got to be excited about that. Right now, you're getting transfer guys and 3-stars, and you're hoping to coach them up, develop them. You got a good, look, this isn't Alabama. This isn't Georgia. This isn't a program where if you don't get a 4-star, it's a bad deal. Like, you expect them just to roll in every single year. This is a program that needs that to build their program. All right, now keep him. It's going to be a lot of people. Well, what if he leaves after this next year? Well, it could happen. We never know. But the fact that, especially for a guy like him to come in and fill Barry Odom's shoes and to come rebuild what he needed to rebuild, he's doing his job. And he's showing 4-stars. He's showing other 4-stars. You come here. This is the reaction you're going to, and that's true. You look at the reaction the basketball team got when they loaded their roster with 4-stars and 5-stars. It was chaos. It was awesome. Let that happen. You get 4, 5, 6 4-stars, 5-stars on this football program. There's going to be a lot of positivity to talk about.
Well, and this goes back to with Tavion Wallace, pre-Pittman even, that he is the highest rated high school recruit or commit that Arkansas has got since McTelvin Najim. So we're going back that far that we haven't had this high of a recruit. And Tavion Wallace is the first 4-star in this class. So, going back to, remembering what Najim did for Arkansas, I know there was a lot more hype than I think we saw on the field, but at the same time, he's a great player, and this is more of what we need.
Yeah, you get one defensive back or you get one big-time linebacker that can shut down a side of the field when it comes to respect of we need to know where he's at all times. So you're locked down one side of the field. Now you get to really hone in on that left side or right side of the field because they know they're going to have to watch where he's at. That is a huge difference when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. You get you a couple – look at the super senior year. You had linebackers. You had defensive backs that were just – you had to watch out where everybody was, and they were playing hard. They were playing with heart. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the teams at the end of the year play with heart, play with fire, And will this team, even if they're having a kind of a say they're 6-6, will them team to a 7-win season? I think you are 6-5 or whatever, 6-6 at the end of the year, and you're going up against Missouri. You're 5-6, and they will themselves to that 6-win against Missouri. That would say a lot more about this team, opposed to you lose that and you're 4-8.
Mm-hmm. And then something with the recruiting too, and thinking about this last night, it's one of those things. And yes, I'm looking ahead to 2026 already, no matter who the head coach is. But with this regime that's here right now, and 2026 for me and for a lot of teams, I think it's Kane Archer or bust when it comes to quarterbacks out of Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit there and still see his brother Cash Archer, who does not have an offer from Arkansas yet, but still does around. He has several. I don't know the exact total. Several SEC schools. You have 85 scholarships. If it meant you had a better chance at landing Kane, throw his brother a scholarship. And I'm not taking anything away from Cash because he's a damn good player, but do what you got to do. Throw one of those scholarships to him. Trust me, there's somebody else out there that you could give it to.
Yeah, and you look at who Arkansas's thrown scholarships at in the past. I mean, you can, especially when you're, and this is again no knock, but this is just where we are. If we are all hyped on getting one 4-star guy, you can bring in a guy, and he can develop and turn up into a great. Look at Grant Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not knocking him by saying give him a scholarship, because he gets to play with his brother. You're going to get the best Kane. You're going to get the best Cash, because they're getting to play side by side in college in their home state.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to pose this question. I was going to pose it on our Hillbilly Realty question of the day, but I wanted to save it for this. Do you think at the state of this program, there's just too much pressure on these in-state kids to come in and perform when you have a program that's going 4-8, 6-7, 6-6? You think they got to come in and be that saving grace to raise us to a 7-8 win season? Do you think that's too much? And then the NIL side of it, there's a lot of pressure there.
I think there's pressure. I don't think it's necessarily a lot of pressure. I think you're going to have pressure regardless in a state that only has one school, no professional sports. That's a given. I think the issue comes in that you have a lot of players that maybe they want to go see somewhere else. Maybe they've been to Fayetteville enough. They want to go play somewhere else. They want to go play on the other side of the country even. And I think we're seeing more of that potentially. Even if it's a couple few hours. I mean, just sometimes players just want to leave. Kids just want to leave where they're from.
Well, and a lot of it too is, hey, I can go play here for a year. If I don't like it, I can always come back to Arkansas. They'll want me. Think about the state of the program. Think about where Arkansas is right now. They wanted me this year. They're going to want me next year. They don't have, now if you start building that program, look again, basketball, you start getting 4 and 5 stars out of high school and other programs. That's not necessarily the case. You're not going to, every high school kid from Arkansas that goes elsewhere, they're not going to automatically have an open door to come back. There might not be a spot for them.
Well, and that's something too, like with the kids that do go elsewhere. I look at Courtney Crutchfield, Dindy. I look at Kern. Now with Amarion going to Oklahoma, I kind of look at these kids and I sit here and think, who are we potentially going to see back here or in the transfer portal in the next year or so?
Well, yeah.
And we're sitting here so that's one of those things, number one, don't bash a high school kid for choosing to go somewhere else other than Arkansas. Number two is the reason behind that. Well, besides it not being needed, they might come back here, and then you're going to be welcoming them home because they're back here. Let them make their decision, and then just hope that whatever happens, that they want to come back here and finish out their collegiate career at Arkansas.
Another thing is too, you've got new coaches on the defensive side of the ball. You've got a brand new OC. Football is all about not necessarily every freshman is going to come on and play. You're going to have to be developed into a starter. You're going to have to really grind and earn your spot on the field. So you're not coming in as a freshman phenom and stepping on the court and averaging 17, 20 a game. So a lot of these, when they're coming into a situation, it's not necessarily just because, well, this is Arkansas or the fans. Who's going to help me get to the next level? Has these coaches, has this staff, especially when it keeps changing the way it is. If I come here and my coach is gone next year, where am I going to go? What's in it for me? What if the coach that comes in next year, I don't like his system? So there's going to have to be a lot of stability in this program as well on the coaching side, because when you're a football player, you're going to have to take at least a year to get to the point, or two, before you're really honed in. You're SEC caliber star on both sides of the ball. And if that coach is not here, guess what? You're starting over.
Mm-hmm.
And if that coach is gone, then you're starting over. So a lot of it can be pointed to the turnover of the coaches as well. So you got to think about that when it comes to why are kids not coming to Arkansas? Well, the coaches might not be here in a year, and then they're going to end up leaving anyway. So go to a spot where, look at Oklahoma, look at Kansas State, where they're stable and their coaching staff is. OU's coming to the SEC. So guess what? You're going to a brand like OU, and they're coming into the SEC. So you could go to a program that's relevant and in one of the best conferences in the country. That's a big key.
100%. And I mean, I don't know. I sit here and think about these kids. I mean, I look at Landon Jackson, obviously it was Texarkana, I think he's from, but went to LSU, was there for a year, came here. Unfortunately, we only got Drew Sanders for 1 year. I would have liked to have seen him here more. But if it's not here for these kids to develop, let them go somewhere else and then bring them back once they hit the portal. I mean, I know that's against, say, like Coach Cal's frame of mind when it comes to recruiting and such, but hey, in football, I think it's a little bit different. Go let them, go build themselves up under Venables, under Sarkisian, under Brian Kelly, and then let them come back here a year or two later better than what you've potentially got. Yeah. And again, I'm not knocking the kids as much as I'm knocking the development of the players.
Yeah, because you go to a school like OU and say you're a 4-star in Arkansas. Well, we all know a 4-star in Arkansas could be completely different than a 4-star in Oklahoma or 4-star in Texas. You go to a place like OU and you realize, well, this other 4-star, there's 3 guys ahead of me. I'm going to still go develop and I'm still going to play. But now I've realized, man, next year I'm still going to be in the same spot. Come back. Do I want to really wait till my senior year to play? Or do I want to come to a place like Arkansas where I could start potentially my sophomore, junior year?
Because looking at the bunch that's coming in for this season, I mean, I really only think there's one freshman that we will see get a lot of playing time on the field this season, and that's offensive lineman from Southside, Fort Smith Southside, Kobe Branham, already being at 2 on the, well, granted that was a spring depth chart, but he's turning heads up there, and I think with his size that he already has, he's somebody that we're going to see a lot of this coming season. And that's rare in that sense too, especially an offensive lineman to come in the SEC, and you're already being talked about, with different articles that have been put out there about turning heads and practices and preseason and whatnot. So he's somebody that I've got high hopes for, but that, like I said, that's rare for that to happen this day and age.
You look at a lot of the in-state kids that have come to Arkansas and it's had an impact. You look at Connor Nolan's, you look at the Grant Morgans, they had success. You came to Arkansas and you had success. You're on a winning program. You're on a winning team. That's a lot of it. So if you look at the kid from Southside, he comes and he has a successful year and he starts turning into an all SEC guy. That's going to be like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And then they start having 6-7 wins. If they come into this year and they win 6-7 games, that's going to be a huge improvement, and it's going to have a very, very positive impact on moving forward. I don't think anybody's expecting them to win 7-8 games or bust. I don't think I don't think that anybody is saying that. I'm certainly not. I told you.
I'm not coming off of mine, which most people know. And I mean, even like we talked about before the show, Dijon Harris, former Arkansas Razorback, currently in the NFL, On3 put out their win predictions, not just the actual record, but just how many wins. And Scooter put out 4 or 5, maybe 6 if the Arkansas football gods are on our side. And so here we are at former players that are giving these same or similar projections. And that's just where we're at. And there's no reason to knock any of it. That's what you think. That is more respectable than, say, coming out and saying, oh, Arkansas is going to go 11-1 this year.
Yeah. And you, look, that just shows he knows how hard it is to win in the SEC, to play in the SEC. And you just look at the schedule that the football team has. I mean, again, Oklahoma State, your first game's at Auburn, A&M, Tennessee, LSU. I mean, for this program, that's brutal. Yeah, you get Mississippi State just because, they're having a new coach and they're trying to rebuild their program. It's still a losable game. Then you got to turn around and play Ole Miss, Texas, La Tech, and then Missouri. So look, that La Tech could be just much like that FIU game where you're struggling to play with them. Then you have a breakout second quarter and you run off with it and you get high hopes. And then guess what? Mm-hmm. You've got to go to Missouri and play in Como. So
the question here, the question here from MC, will Pittman make it beyond the October 12th open week? Because I see either 1-5 or 2-4. I think there's a lot that goes into that. I'm not here going to say he's going to be gone this week, that week, or at all. But I think that if the time comes and that is a decision that's made, timing is going to be huge on that, just because you've got to look at too, do you have somebody to follow him up damn near immediately? Because where are you in the season that is going to potentially destroy your recruiting?
If you are clicking on offense and things are not sputtering, you're not going lull, you're not putting drives together and they're just dying. If the offense is clicking and they're scoring points but not winning games, say they're 2-6, something with management, coaching, I can see them making a change right before that LSU game because you have a bye week. But if your offense is not doing a thing, if your offense is struggling, if your offense and defense is struggling, then what would be the benefit of making that change mid-season? Because like you said, who's going to come in? This is going to be one of those, we're giving Bobby Petrino a second chance to come in and run this offense. Sam Pittman's going to give Bobby Petrino full control of this offense because he knows his job depends on it. Mm-hmm. You would have brought him in if it didn't.
Well, and DP brought up last night on HQ Live, you got to look at too, if things continue to downtrend in the state of Florida and that Florida job comes open, you're now competing with that on finding a head coach. So if something happens to Billy Napier, I think you're going to have a uphill battle.
Yeah. And that's, again, it depends on who. Are you going to hand it to somebody who can take over this team and carry you the rest of the season? If not, I don't know. It is a tough situation, but I would see, and you have to look at the buyout. What's the buyout compared to if you wait till the end of the season? Your season is already kind of a bust. Just let's say you're 2-4, 2-5, whatever. You need to wait till the end of the season, because at that end, I mean, because you would want to make it where you think, okay, Bobby Petrino's going to turn this thing around. We're going to make it a bowl eligible. I mean, that's where it is. But you got to make sure that you're making the right call. And what is it? If the guy can't run the offense and the offense is sputtering, do you really trust him to run the whole team? And that's where you got to really throw caution to really just hand in the keys to Bobby Petrino, because there's a lot of people who just think, well, he's automatically good. There's a lot of people who think that's the plan. Sam Pittman's going to come in. They're going to come in right before the LSU game. They're going to make a change, and it could happen. But the offense will have to be clicking and them lose games for that to happen.
I would agree with that. And I mean, I look at too, before we go to break here, that who says that Bobby Petrino wants to be a head coach again?
Yeah.
Because we're all speculating, we're all saying it, but at the same time, he could be perfectly happy not having the pressure of being a head coach.
I think in goal, that's what their hopes are. I think Sam Pittman wants to ride this thing, but again, what we talked about last week, that's what you want to do, is your job. If you could get an offensive coordinator to run the offense successfully, you got a T. Will, he can run that defense successfully. That's all you need to worry about. Then you get to be the CEO of the team. You don't have to worry about the offense. You don't have to worry about the defense. You're running the team and you're overseeing what they're doing. That's what a staff does. If you're having to worry about what your offensive coordinator is doing in the SEC or your defensive coordinator is doing in the SEC, they're not cut out to coach in the SEC.
Yep.
It's just, yes, like this. Best case scenario, splash hour at the end of the year, because you don't know who can be up and coming. You do it, and now you make, say, Bobby an intern to get you through the season. But again, you really got to see what this team's doing and how they're losing the games before you just make a sudden change, or you just kind of scratch this and start over, because that's what's going to happen. If this does not work out, you're starting over. And again, it sucks, but I know this is a gamble Bobby Petrino is willing to take. He knows coming into this, if this doesn't work out, it's going to be just like he left the last time.
And I think that I think before any decision is made, I mean, you'll have Hunter Yurchek meeting with the powers that be and boosters and whatever, and see, can they make a splash hire like they did? Is somebody going to pony up the money?
That's what it's going to take. So we're going to head to a break. After the commercial break, we are going to talk about the interesting tweet that was put out by Arkansas basketball program that was not put out by the Arkansas basketball program, and wrap the show up on a wedding that happened involving a Arkansas Razorback mascot in the state of Arkansas. We'll talk about that after the break.
Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need. Whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck, plus our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you in need of legal representation? Look no further than the law offices of Robertson, Beasley, Shipley, and Robinson. As the oldest law firm in the River Valley, we have been serving our clients for over 100 years, with locations in Ozark, Fort Smith, and Springfield. Our experienced team of attorneys provide expert guidance and advocacy in a wide range of legal areas, including personal injury, family law, criminal defense, and more. Trust in our history and experience to the results you deserve. Contact the law office of Robertson, Beasley, Shipley, and Robinson today at 479-782-8813. That's 479-782-8813. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company.
I want to welcome you back to the Hawg Talk podcast. And before the break, we were talking about interesting tweet that was floating around and talking about, Kentucky fans still trying to just come up with any way to get a rise out of this fan base. And would you consider Kentucky basketball the Missouri football fan base? I mean, the equivalent of just no matter what, that fan base is always in the basketball mentions, just like no matter what, Missouri fans are always in the football mentions when it comes to anything Arkansas.
I know that Arkansas fans can do their fair share of trolling. We've all seen it. We've all heard, everybody kind of knows that Hawg Twitter is something else compared to others. It's just borderline like ridiculous at this point. Because I know we poke the bear to Mizzou a lot. One thing about Mizzou fans and Kentucky fans though is at least Kentucky's won a national championship in something.
Yeah.
But over on X, I think it's at Hogball Burner. He brought up a point yesterday: is you don't see Arkansas fans or Arkansas media talking about USC's roster, but here's Kentucky media talking about Arkansas's roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that people poke the bear back and forth, but at the same time, it's like, we're not talking about you. And we are right now because of a fake tweet, fake pictures that were put out by whoever. We can only assume where it came from, I think, unless they prove that. But when you even have the lady who runs the social media account for the Arkansas basketball team replying to Reddit, replying to the Kentucky account that put it out, whatever, basically like, no, I didn't make that. And she kind of did it, in a lighthearted kind of way, but at the same time, like, stop doing this kind of type. But
Yeah.
Anybody can look at it. You had a tweet that was put out that said that it had been put out 3 minutes ago, and it already had like 71,000 views or thousands of likes, whatever. I'm like, it's a bad Photoshop job for the fact that you had something posted 3 minutes ago that already had 71,000 views.
Yeah. Look, it wouldn't be so sad if the fact that y'all wanted him gone, like y'all couldn't wait to get rid of him. So why are you talking about it? You wanted him gone. You should be happy for Arkansas. You should be happy that y'all took him off our hands and we're moving on to our guy. Well, because you didn't get the guy that you wanted. You're trying to pump up this guy that come from BYU when you struck out 4 times, and it is what it is with that. But to make up that kind of post, and a lot of it was the credibility, she was probably covering her ass saying, look, I didn't post that, because everything looks legit. And she was clarifying that she didn't post it. A lot of times now you have to do that, because a lot of people, they wanted credited, or if people run with that and they're tagging Arkansas in that and they're quoting them or crediting the Arkansas basketball Twitter page for this post they put out, for them to come out and be like, that wasn't me. They were probably getting a lot of heat. They were probably getting a lot of stuff that we didn't even see, not just from fans,
Mm-hmm.
So there was probably a lot of questions. Why would you post that? Who gave you clearance to post? That's what that tells me, is somebody above the account was like, hey, this is what we're seeing. Did you do this? And it is sad that the person who runs a legitimate. I know how professional the SIDs are at Arkansas. Very, very professional when it comes to posting things and being factual. Yeah, they might get some stuff on some stats for previous games or 10 years ago, but when they're posting things like that, they have editors and people who are okaying that you can post that and put that out there. So it's an integrity deal on their behalf of, we didn't put that out there. And it's funny because I know a part of it was probably a joke and, let's get a rise out of Arkansas fans, but it's not. One, you wanted him gone, and two, it's not even basketball season. Like if this was in season or during the Olympics were going on or whatever, there's no relevancy of why you're posting that to get a rise out of Arkansas fans.
And I've said, I know that come basketball season, that I already know a select handful of Kentucky fans that cannot wait for the day for Arkansas to lose their first basketball game. And I'm ready for it because I expect it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, I know that when basketball season starts, I mean, the gloves are going to be coming off and I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah. It's going to
be, that's what we're here for.
But
at the same time, right now, yeah, worry about your football teams, their season coming up.
I'll say this though, when it comes to basketball season, all gloves are off. But I mean, Arkansas's put that pressure on themselves because they got a Hall of Fame coach and they got 4-star. You better win. Yeah, you're going to lose games, but look, you can't come in and flop because you're not only going to be worried about Kentucky fans on you, you're going to have your own fans on you. Like, look, you've got all of this talent, this coach, you're leading us to the promised land, and you flop. And it's not. I'm not just talking about one loss. If this team loses one game, or it's going to happen, you lose a Wednesday game and have a tough Saturday game. That you lose a game you weren't supposed to, and then this one on Saturday is a toss up. Those are going to happen. But if you run a stretch where something's going wrong or things aren't clicking, that's where the questions will start. But yeah, it's going to get nasty when basketball season comes, and especially the closer it gets to that Kentucky game, the worse it's going to get. And it's going to be like a powder keg, waiting to explode.
I still cannot wait for, which I get it. Coach Cal going back to Rupp, totally get it. I just wish I had been at home and it's going to be, it seems like a long wait before we get Kentucky here.
Oh,
in Fayetteville.
They're dodging. They don't want Kentucky to come to Arkansas and play. I mean, they had a hell of a time trying to come with Cal as their coach. I mean, they won, but they gave them hell. And I think the SEC should have. Now, the only thing I think of when playing devil's advocate is they'd already come out with a schedule. They just didn't publicly put it out there before the announcement was made. But, you can switch things up. And I just think they did a disservice by not making that a home and home, because one, we talked about it with that rival in the SEC, and the SEC's desperately, especially when you're bringing in OU in Texas, you desperately need that SEC feel of, okay, you don't need OU in Texas to come in to make it the SEC. Show them what you've had this whole time with this Arkansas-Kentucky rivalry. Promote why you don't need OU or Texas, because I'm telling you what, right now, you have Texas come in and run the SEC in football, and then they have success in basketball, or OU starts having a six. It's going to be brutal because they're going to brag saying they're carrying the conference now.
Oh yeah, and that they're going to, or they're going to say that.
Yep.
And especially coming in, as much trash talk has been talked in the past when it comes to Big 12 defenses and things of that nature. So it's one of those things that it's going to get ugly for one side or the other.
Yeah. I don't worry so much about Oklahoma yet. I know Venables is still trying to prove himself, but look, Texas is salty. They've proven that can beat the SEC. They proved they could play with the SEC. Even in the stellar year of LSU in 19, they hung with them. LSU barely got by them. One of their toughest games that season. So I know what Sark can do when he's, Sark and not the other Sark, saying without saying, but you got to have respect for them when they come in the SEC, but they still got to prove to themselves that, hey, we're going to be everybody's biggest game. Not necessarily. I mean, let's give that a rest, because I can see Arkansas, A&M, and OU, but I think because of the previous rivalries, the previous history is why they would be their biggest game. Outside of that, you're not walking into LSU and that's their biggest game of the year. You're not walking into Alabama. You're not what other schools? I mean, and I'm talking about relevant schools. Are you walking into that stadium and that's their biggest game?
Mm-hmm.
Three of the 16 teams, I would say.
It's going to be a fun fall and winter.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of trash talk coming. And I'll just, say this, people, when you're going to take the time to make pictures, edited pictures, whatever, make it a funny meme. Don't just make it like a fake Twitter post. It's kind of played out.
Well, and again, it's crossing a line opposed to it's looking like somebody actually done something that could potentially get somebody in trouble. I mean, it could, we all know when you post the wrong thing, the retribution of posting something before it should have been posted. So, I mean, whether it was true, not going to be true, going to be a press conference at 5, you never know, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you never know, but that's why you have to wait and make sure you're right and not try to be first.
100%.
Wasn't first, but next time just do it on a message board, clear.
Look, that's how you don't get your hand slapped.
You post the message board, let it ride, and then you can post it on social media.
There you go.
Well, moving on, we have some news out of the soccer. They released their schedule. You have that graphic of they released their whole.
I don't have that graphic, but I've got the whole Hawg Sports.
Okay.
Let me pull them up here.
And
probably
yeah, there we go. And looking at it, that is it looks pretty salty when you look at Michigan State, Gonzaga, LSU, Missouri. Vanderbilt has always been a tough game. South Carolina is a new one that has, come up and been a force in the SEC. Then you have Mississippi State, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas. I don't know too much about their soccer programs, but Colby Hill's always up for the challenge and talking about a standard that this is a team where, if they don't win the SEC, it's a down year. I mean, that's where that standard is because, they won 4 in a row. So, again, another coach that deserves to win a national title and has come very, very close to winning it all. But it's also very hard because one goal could be the difference between you're still playing or you're going home. But schedule starts August 25th. Or not August 25th. There was 2 games before that. What was the games before that?
We had exhibition games. You got exhibition games August 4th, 10th, and 11th. And then John Brown, August 15th, Michigan State, August 22nd.
So the official start would be John Brown, August 15th. But you have 3 games, 2 games at home. Seminole State, if I'm correct, that is the JUCO out of Oklahoma, and Kansas exhibition. So another rebuilding year for them at Arkansas and seeing if they can, again, take the SEC. The schedule's very favorable, and they have a lot of returning starters coming back. So we'll definitely have Coach Hale on before the start of the season to talk about that along with football. And that's the thing. It kind of coincides with football. So a lot of the attention is postseason like. If they go on a big winning streak, there's a lot of people that start paying attention to them. But when you get to that postseason play and you win SEC, it's kind of like, they done it again. It's almost like the women's track field program when you win a national championship or SEC title. It's like, well, there's number 5, there's number 6. So
yeah, and with soccer, kind of goes with volleyball, with several of the other sports. It's like you're waiting for them to be able to get over that hump, just take that next step. And soccer has been on the cusp several times, and it's just you're ready to just see it in another sport. And again, I'm not taking away anything from track, but you're waiting for another sport to finally get there. And we've got volleyball. They had crept up, and I think that they'll have some questions. I don't know if they'll go as far as they did and play, what was it, the Elite 8 against Nebraska.
Yeah.
But the soccer's right there, and you're just waiting for them to get over that hump and just make it a little bit further.
Yeah, and it's tough because there's a lot of those programs that are knocking at the door when it comes to consistently, softball getting back on track, soccer getting back on track, hoping that women's basketball gets to the tournament. I mean, that's the hopes for each program when you're talking about where they are. Swim dive team getting nationally ranked, building off of that, having swimmers in the Olympics, having swimmers play, swim for their national teams. Golf, getting back to that, where they're winning a national championship or the number one golfer in the country. So, a lot to look forward to coming up this summer and this summer season, fall season, whatever you call it. And just, again, getting ready for football. Closer it gets, I know the more attention. A lot of this, will be revolved around SEC media days and what comes of that. But we all know we talk about it's like the spring game of media. I mean, you're going to get the vanilla answers. You're going to get the coach speak, talking season per se. But it gives us something to look forward to because we know it's coming. Just like the Hootens football magazine, when that pops off, high school football is coming. When SEC media rolls around, you're on that final stretch until football kicks off.
Oh, yeah. We'll have plenty of quotes, hopefully some good ones, plenty to talk about. We'll see how many more coaches want to put out anonymous quotes about Arkansas, the coaching staff or whatever. I still don't understand that, but
I think that's just made up. You might have a sprinkle of real, but I mean, a lot of that is, just made up jargon like, oh, this anonymous. No, he didn't tell you that to say, it's just one of the things you might have overheard it at a bar at like 11 o'clock at night, but it wasn't nothing that they directly told you.
At least with the media days, they're, in front of a camera and microphone 99% of the time while they're there.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is what happens, baseball, it ends sooner. So you're like, okay, let's hurry up and get to football season. Let's hurry up and get to some, topics and things that are going on. And it's funny that a tweet from a guy going at the fans leads your show, but when it gets that kind of response and fans firing back, that's where it is. But I just wanted to make it very, very clear. None of this is on the fans. It shouldn't be. And I'll be dead honest. If it is a problem, if that's what the players are thinking about when they're deciding, look, you don't think you ain't going to another school and it's going to be a problem there, that should be the least of your worries. You need to be focused on, I want to be a better football player. I want to be this and get into a winning team. So let's hold the horses when we come to blaming the fans because they have platforms now. They have voices now. They've always thought those. Now they can say it publicly. You got to, now, unless they're personally coming at you with attacks, that's the line. That's where we're talking about sliding into their DMs and attacking them personally on a personal level. That's wrong on any level. So, if they're talking about your game, hey, look, man, you gave up 2 touchdowns or you had 3 fumbles or you threw 2 interceptions. Look, you're going to get it. If you go 3-8 or 4-8, 3-9, you're going to get it. Start winning, start having success. Give this fan base some hope. Give them something to look forward to because this is a big year. You're putting a lot of faith in Bobby Petrino to come in and fix this team. And I hope it happens. I hope he redeems himself because he is a brilliant offensive mind. And this would really hold true if he really is true about what he said. He wanted to come back to Arkansas and make things right. And it all starts this season. And look, you get me bowl eligible, you get the Razorback team bowl eligible. I think that's a huge success.
And for the fans that, question other fan bases or may not know, create you a burner and just go hop in some of these other team Facebook groups and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd even say go as far as if you want, just join some of the SEC ones that are just all of them combined and you'll get a good idea of what's really out there. It's not just us.
No, it's not. I follow a lot of different fan bases and stuff, and clips of fan bases just as toxic. Look, I mean, this is a program that's winning 10 games consistently. But that is the expectation of what that program is they're not in this conversation for the CFP anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you this, let them expand it to 12 teams and Clemson don't make the 12-team playoff. There's going to be a hot seat for Dabo. I mean, but that just shows you how quickly a fan base can turn on you. It's not just Arkansas. It happens everywhere. Look at Kentucky, case in point. Look what happened when their coach left and their players left. Oh, they sucked and this, that. But we're talking about players coming to their program. They're not as good as the players that left the program, and they're putting them on a higher pedestal. That just shows you the hypocrisy right there. Because you think BYU and the other schools that they're coming from can beat the Kentucky team that was there. No, just because they lost to Oakland. But what did BYU do in the tournament? Same thing. So you're moving in a, you're not making upward moves. You're staying baseline. So that's where you're at, Big Blue Nation.
Yeah, fan is short for fanatics. We're all crazy in some way, shape, or form.
Well, Adam, before we wrap things up, come back on Thursday. You got anything else to add or talk? I mean, anything else before we wrap up?
If anybody listening, throw in the comments if you think that with John Cena's announcement of retiring next year, will he win his 17th world championship to pass Ric Flair? We'll see if there's any wrestling fans out there.
That'd be tough. But I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that. But yeah, you talk about longevity, talk about a hell of a career. He's earned it. I mean, it's weird not to see him kind of with the hair and not the old get up, but yeah. It'd be cool to see Stone Cold come back and win another one too. But
he did the right thing by riding off into the sunset.
Who was worse on their post? Was it Dolly Parton at the Cowboys game or Stone Cold when he come in and fought at WrestleMania?
I'd say Dolly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that will do it for this episode of the Hawg Talk podcast. Again, we're brought to you by Sterling Soap, Arkansas Brewing Company, Believe, and Bet Online. We will catch you on Thursday.